Hi, I'm Brian, and I'm a game show junkie. Can you believe that a simple kids game like tic-tac-toe could be made into more than one format? I already talked about the X&O trivia game Tic-Tac-Doe, but creator Meryl Heater wondered what would happen if you put celebrities in the boxes instead of categories. The result was Hollywood Squares. But first, it's time for a history lesson. Hollywood Squares originally aired on NBC, premiering in 1966, and hosted by stage star Peter Marshall. For 14 years, top celebrities of the day answered questions to help contestants win money and prizes. The show was also the first game show to have puppets as celebrities. Unfortunately, Hollywood Squares was one of the victims of game show Armageddon, being canceled alongside Chain Reaction and High Rollers. In 1986, a new version dubbed the New Hollywood Squares premiered and introduced me and many others to the format. If you're ready, let's get started! The game was quite simple. A player wins just like tic-tac-toe, capturing 3 squares across, up and down, diagonally, or acquiring the most squares possible. What that means is, unlike tic-tac-doe, if neither player can get 3 in a row, the first to capture 5 squares wins the round. The first 2 games are worth $500, and any subsequent rounds are worth $1,000. Whoever wins the most money will have a chance to win a new car! Instead of categories, the contestants choose one of 9 celebrities. The celebrity is asked a question. Before giving the answer, they give either a pre-written or improvised zinger. After the real answer is given, the player has to agree or disagree whether the answer is correct. If they're right, they win the square. If they're wrong, their opponent wins the square. The only time this didn't apply is if the square would give their opponent the win. The player had to earn the winning square themselves. The second round is always the secret square round. If the secret square is found, the question is worth a bonus prize, usually a trip. Before the round starts, the home audience sees who the secret square is. For the last rounds, they play until they're interrupted by the time's up horn. At that time, the current question becomes the last question. If neither player gets 3 in a row, each X and O on the board adds $100 to their score. Later, it was changed to $200. The champion would pick one of 5 keys from a candy dish. Each of the keys started one of the 5 cars at center stage. The player chooses the car they want to play for, and a celebrity to sit with them for good luck. After the host counts to 3, they turn the key. If the sound is an ignition, they won the car and left the show. If it's their downer sound, they lose. If that's the case, they come back as champion, and every day the failed car isn't looked at. If they win 5 days in a row, they won the last car automatically. After an overabundance of car wins made the show go over budget, they changed the format slightly for the last season. Now each of the 9 celebrities had keys. 5 keys started one of the cars just like before, but 4 others were duds, which opened nothing. The other change was a champion could keep winning until they lost the game or won the car. The host was John Davidson. Or was it? Anyway, John was an occasional panelist on the original Hollywood Squares, so he knew the game as well as Peter Marshall. John had the looks, voice, and energy of a host. Unlike Marshall, Davidson was replaced by an alien puppet who thought he could do a better job.
Can you believe this, huh? Here we are. Hello, squares. Hello, stars. Hello. You too, Norm. Yeah. I'm going to agree. The answer is no. Wrong.
John was also pranked from time to time.
Sponsor Chris Larva. It's a new high-energy, high-protein drink. It's made from apples and caterpillars, and it's delicious to drink. Twist off the cap and drink.
Go ahead, do
I'm
it.
not drinking it. And drink. It's not bad. Larva.
No, wait just a minute.
Oh.
I'm leaning back like this and looking at
No,
the card.
Check, please.
I'm
Oh.
looking at the card.
I knew
saw
the
you
answer.
right here.
I knew
I
the-
hate cheaters.
I have to explain what just happened. You folks at home are going to think that everything is planned. The Hollywood Squares has a lot of things that are sprung on me, and they really got me this time. These two talented people are not contestants at all. They are professional stunt people. They're Annie Ellis and Greg Barnett, and our fabulous production team really fooled me. Thank you, Greg, Bill, and Annie. Thank you. The adrenaline was just running. I couldn't believe it because I saw him peak, and I thought, oh my goodness, what can we do?
Although Peter Marshall was considered the master of the squares, John Davidson was just as masterful. Hollywood Squares had the biggest visual since the Scrabble Cube, the game board. The tic-tac-toe grid measured 30 feet in the air, so 9 celebrities could sit comfortably and could be seen easily by the camera. Because of the size of the board, John and the contestants were elevated above the audience so they could see the stars. The contestants' background was designed by art director Dennis Roof, who prior to Squares gave Tic-Tac-Doe's set a complete overhaul. Both sets have similar backgrounds. Although the set seemed complicated, it was just portable enough to bring the show across the country. In 1987, the cast and crew taped 2 weeks' worth of shows from Radio City Music Hall in New York City. Instead of having a few hundred people, over 6,000 screaming people got to experience the party. And for the crowning visual, one of the cars available was the 1988 Lincoln Continental. John Davidson even gave a fellow game show junkie a chance to live out his dream after showing a video of his home version.
This is your host, Scott Reside.
Object of the game is to win tic-tac-toe with 3 squares across, down or diagonally, or acquire as many squares as you can. Melissa.
I'll take a shadow for the block.
Shadow. X gets the square.
1,
2, 3.
Is that a little scary or what? There's always somebody else waiting in the wings, literally. Ladies and gentlemen, from Saratoga, New York, Scott Reside is here. Yeah! That's it! Hey. Hi, Scott.
Here we go. The object of the game is to win tic-tac-toe with 3 squares across, down, or diagonally,
Check,
or
please.
acquire the most squares you can. Winner of the first 2 games will receive $500 in cash. After that, each game will be worth $1,000. And whoever wins the most money at the end of the show will have a chance to drive away in one of these beautiful Jeeps.
Let's hear it for Scott.
But the Big Apple wasn't the only place they went. They created a mechanical mobile version to take with them to Hollywood, Florida. The numbers and symbols had to be slipped on by the stars and crew, but it was the same game having some fun in the sun. You know you're doing something right when The Simpsons satirize your work. The music by Stormy Sachs has an interesting mix of emotions. The opening that introduces the stars is the same as you would expect from an opening to a newscast. It's simple, dramatic, and sets up what's to follow. The music played during the introduction to the Secret Square round is just the opposite. It's so haunting, you'll feel like you're watching the climax of a tearjerker movie. The ending theme feels like the end of a Broadway show. The action and music made your emotions go in all directions, and the finale is met with thunderous applause and a generally happy feeling. But this is a game show, so we can't forget about the sound effects. There's the ding when a square is given,
It is true.
the win cue to the player, the secret square alarm, the time's up horn, and the car failed to start. Wow, it wasn't just a simple buzz, it really made you feel like a loser. There were two catchphrases that made the rounds each day on Hollywood Squares. One was for the contestants, and the other was for the host. Since the contestants had to respond the same to every question, the terms "I'll agree" and "I'll disagree" became just as memorable as the host's line, "X gets the square" or "Circle gets the square."
I agree.
I'll disagree. Circle gets the square. X gets the square. There's the early rocket. $1,500.
That's Hollywood Squares, proving once again that a strong format can be brought back from the catacombs of television. In fact, the show was revived one last time in 1998 with newcomer Tom Bergeron and the funny Whoopi Goldberg as the center square. This version lasted for 6 years and was one of the first game shows I ever tried out for. Although I didn't make it past the audition, I was determined to one day make it on a game show. Well, until next time, I'm Brian, your game show junkie, saying, see you then.